Next pattern is visitor pattern. Visitor pattern is, I would say, one of the complex patterns. What is it? Visitor pattern allows an operation to be performed on elements on object structure. So there is in fact what is called the visitor, and then there is a visitable. Visitor will have some operations visiting visitables. Okay? So in order to support the different operations on those visitables, you are going to define new operations. And yeah, so you're going to have a better understanding once I actually show you an example. So when to use it when different set of operations need to be performed on elements of an object structure. So participants, there is a visitor, which is an abstraction. It defines a set of visit operations for all types of visitable classes. We'll actually come back to this slide after we look into example code. Usually the name of operation is the same and operations are differentiated by method signature. Okay, I know it sounds confusing, right? But I'll come back to this slide. And then we have a concrete visitors. Okay. So each concrete visitor has a set of operations. So then concrete visitor is passed to the object structure to the visitable, and new concrete visitor can be created and passed to the object structure visitable without forcing change in object structure. Yeah, I know I'm actually talking about in a very high level. So I'm going to just go through what are the participants first, and in kind of high level perspective, and I'll come back. I promise I come back to this slide. Okay, so we have a visitor and concrete visitors, then we have a visitable, and then we have concrete visitable implementation of it, and the visitable group. So these visitable abstraction represent the object element that could be visited by the visitor. Okay. And that's an abstraction, and these are concrete implementation of it. And the group, in fact, could be visitable as well. Okay. All right. I know it's a little bit confusing, so let's get to the example code, and you'll have a better understanding. Okay. So let's go to visitor example. So here. Okay. So I'm gonna actually use this car example here. Excuse me. So suppose we have a car. Car has an element. So if you think about the car, let's say car has a set of elements of its own. So let me just show you where those things are. Yeah, okay. So car could be made of wheel and body, engine, and things like that. So for the wheel, we have 4 wheels, right? So we have front right wheel, and we have back left, and the front left and front right, and the back left and back right. So a car is made of 4 wheels and 1 body and 1 engine. Okay, so you can think of car is made of these 4 wheels and 1 body and 1 engine. And what we want to do is that we want to perform some set of operations on each of these elements. For example, we want to purchase first. So we have in fact what is called the buy. We want to perform the buy operation on all those elements. Like a wheel, we're going to actually buy 4 wheels, and we're going to buy 1 engine, we're going to buy 1 body. Okay, and that will actually make up a car. Right? And once you have performed the buy operation and all those elements, then we want to assemble all those. So we want to actually visit each of those elements and perform the buy operation. So you can think of car has this set of elements, and car itself is an element. Okay, so if you take a look at the car as a vegetable, so we have a car vegetable. So basically, this accept is going to accept the visitor, and this visitor is in fact a set of operations. So in this case, in this group case, car is in fact the group of elements, and we want to perform these visitor operations on each of those. So that's the reason we have a for loop. Okay, so we actually call the accept, these visitor operations. Okay, and then basically we are going to perform visit, passing this particular vegetable object. Yeah, it seems like it's a bit too much to digest. So let me actually get back to the beginning and actually explain it in the high level picture one more time. So what we want to do is we want to perform by operation on each of these elements, body, engine, and four wheels. And once that is done, we want to perform assemble operation on each of those elements. Okay, and we could actually add more operation to those elements. That's basically what we want to do. So here we just perform the buy and assemble. Okay, but we could actually add by elements. We could actually perform maybe for the sake of this exercise, maybe paint. We want to actually paint each of these elements. Okay, so we could actually create another visitor that performs car element, the paint visitor job. Okay, all right. So in visitor pattern, you have a visitor that captures the operations to be performed, and the vegetable represent an element where visitor will visit and perform operations. So let's actually get to the abstraction of visitor. So visitor, you can see visitor is set of visitor abstraction. So I'm going to call car element visitor. These are the set of operations. Okay, so it's called the visit, and each of these visit method will receive a particular visitable object. So it's going to be wheel visitable, engine visitable, and body visitable, and car visitable, and things like that. Okay, now let's take a look at the visitable abstraction. Let's actually see the actual implementation of visitor. So we have car element visitor. Let's actually take a look at concrete implementation of this. So we are going. So this is a visitor. So visit. Where is the visitor? Okay, so here. So we're gonna actually perform assemble. So assemble. The visitor implements each of these methods defined in visitor interface. So it will perform visit operation with wheel visitable object, engine visitable object, body visitable object. So each of these these are all overloaded method getting a different object. Okay, so these are basically performing assemble, and if you take a look at the by visitor object, it's now performing by operation. Okay, all right, now let's take a look at the vegetable. So these are vegetable, car element vegetable. So each of the element will receive has the accept method. This accept method will take visitor object. So this visitor object, that's something we just saw, captures operations to be performed on this particular element. Okay, now if you take a look at the concrete implementation of this vegetable interface, let's take a look at the body vegetable. Okay, so body vegetable implements this vegetable interface and implementing accept. So basically all it does is that it's going to take the visitor object that was received in the form of this abstraction and called visit method, and it's also actually passing its own object. But it is passing itself as an argument. So if you think about the visitor interface, if you see visitor interface, if you take a look at visitor interface, it's receiving this as an argument, right? So depending on what widget tuple type it is, different widget will be invoked. Okay, so in the case of body widget tuple, because it's actually passing body widget tuple object, the actual widget method, okay, the actual widget method of this widgeter is going to be this method. Okay, now if you take a look at the engine, so let's take a look at the engine. So it is actually doing the same thing. It actually implement accept method, again receiving I car element widgeter type, and it's calling widget method of it, and it's also passing itself as an argument. Because it's engine widgetable type, right? What gets invoked in the widgetable is going to be, oops, sorry, widgetable, the widgeter, I meant, yeah. It should be, in this case, this widget method. Okay? Now, so that is a body and that is the engine. Okay, and then we have a will widgetable. Okay, so same thing. Will widgetable also have the accept method here, and it will actually call widget like this. Okay, so that is the same deal. Now that is actually interesting. Widgetable object, in this case car. So car is a little bit different. You know that car is in fact a collection of widgetable object. It itself is a widgetable object, right? But it is also a collection of widgetable objects. So you can see car is a collection of 4 wheels, 1 engine, and 1 body, right? So you know it's actually basically a collection of a widgetable object. Okay, so you can in fact actually create a car widgetable object with a collection object as a constructor here. Okay, now in the accept, what it does is it's going to actually call accept method of each of its elements. So each of these elements will actually call accept. Okay, and then it actually called the widget method. So what it does is that, you know, in addition to calling widget method of itself, it is going to call it's going to call the accept method of each widgetable with a widgeter object. Okay, so what happens is in the car, if you take a look at the client, so in this case, we have made car widgetable object with this array of the 4 wheels and then 1 body and 1 engine. So it's made of 6 widgetable the object. Okay, and so when we do, and then you know, we are going to for this car element, this is a group widgetable object, right? So this is the group widgetable object. We are going to call accept. So passing this by widgeter. What it does is, if you actually go to the accept here, this is the widgetable. So it's gonna actually go to the car widgetables accept method. So yeah, so this is car widgetable accept. It will call this guy. So what gets actually passed is the by widgeter, right? This guy, the car element by widgeter. Okay, and that widgeter will be you know, for each of these elements will be calling accept for that widgeter. Okay, so basically this widgeter operation will be performed on each of those 6 elements. So in each of those 4 wheels and then engine and the body element will be actually visited by this widgeter. So this will basically perform, you know, the by operation. And then in the client, we also perform assemble operation. Okay, so again, each of those car elements, 4 wheels and 1 body and 1 engine, again will be assembled. Okay, now if I want to perform painter operation to be performed on all these elements, and all we have to do is basically creating a car element paint widgeter, and then we'll just pass, you know, we'll just have this code, and it's going to be car element paint widgeter, something like that. Okay, so as you can see in visitor pattern, you can add new operations to be performed on each of those elements. Okay, again, without actually changing existing code. Only thing you have to do is basically creating new visitor class. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so let me actually get back to, so let's actually take a look at the general case. So I actually have a general here. So let's actually take a look at the UML diagram here. So we have iVegetable abstraction and iVisitor abstraction. Okay, and the iVegetables are basically the elements then that will be visited by this visitor object. So visitor, this is an abstraction, and visitor is basically a set of visit method which receive this concrete vegetable object type, and we have concrete visitor implementations. So each of these visitor implementations will actually provide concrete operations. So one example was like assembling, and the other one is a buy, and the other one could be paint. So that paint operation will be performed on each of the vegetable element. Now what's interesting is that this is the concrete vegetable object, this is concrete vegetable object, this is the concrete vegetable group. Okay, so that was actually an example of car. Car was an example of the group. In this case, this group is basically collection of this concrete vegetable object. Okay, all right, so if you take a look at the code, so we have vegetable. This is representing the element that will be visited by iVisitor. So iVisitor is basically representing the operations to be performed. Okay, so the concrete visitor, so in this case concrete visitor implementations, will actually perform the particular set of operations. Okay, so it could be assemble, it could be buy, and things like that, it could be paint. Okay, and the concrete visitor B will have a different operations. Okay, and then vegetable, this is a concrete vegetable, implements iVegetable, and what's important is that it actually provides accept implementation which receive a visitor type object, and it will just call visitor visit method, right? And when this visit method of the visitor is invoked, the actual operation of the iVisitor concrete object will perform. So in visitor pattern, the elements does not really need to know the operations to be performed. Basically the operations to be performed on elements are separated from the object structure of those elements. So this is the key benefit of the visitor pattern. So let's actually get back to the description of this, as I promised. So visitor pattern. So visitor pattern allows an operation to be performed, represented by visitor, right? On elements of object structure, represented by vegetable. Okay. And visitor lets you define new operation without changing the classes of elements on which it operates. So as I said before, in the case of car, right, in the case of a car, if I want to perform new operations, for example, car element paint, the paint operation, all I have to do is basically creating new visitor concrete class. Okay, so if you take a look at this guy, all I have to do is basically creating another concrete class of I element visitor type. So this is the case of buy, this is case of assemble, and then I could actually have paint visitor, which represent different operations that has nothing to do with the structure of this guy. This structure does not really need to be changed, right? So we are basically following open close principle. Just adding new visitor is enough to perform new operations on this vegetable, the elements. Okay. All right. So so that's what I just talked about here. So let's actually get to the participants. Okay. So we have an abstraction of visitor. So this visitor is the one that declare all widget operations of all types of vegetable classes. So if you take a look at this code, basically we have defined the widget method for each of the vegetable object type. Okay, so when widget method is being invoked, this vegetable object is being passed as an argument, right? So based on the type, a particular widget method will be invoked. Okay, so that's what I meant here. Declare all widget operations for all types of vegetable classes. So we defined widget method defined for all vegetable classes. Usually the name of the operation is the same and the operations are differentiated by method signature. So the names are pretty much the same, right? Yeah, well, you just want to use a widget method and the arguments are different. So method signature is representing which one to be. The method signature is receiving a particular argument type, which is representing vegetable type. Okay. So that's what I meant here. Operations are differentiated by method signature because they receive a different argument type. Concrete visitor, these are the concrete classes of this visitor abstraction, and basically these visitors provide the actual operations. So each concrete visitor has a set of operations and they are different from each other. So concrete visitor A will have a different set of operations from concrete visitor 2. Concrete visitor is passed to the object structure as a vegetable. So if you take a look at the vegetable, the abstraction, vegetable abstraction is receiving it, is receiving as the visitor abstraction. Okay, so that's what I meant here. Each concrete visitor is passed to each concrete visitor has a set of operations. A concrete visitor is passed to the object structure as the vegetable abstraction, and the new concrete visitor can be created and passed to the object structure vegetable without forcing change in the object structure. Open close principle. That's exactly what I meant. So I can actually add car element paint visitor, and that paint operation now can be performed on each of the vegetable elements. That's basically what I said here. New concrete visitor can be created and passed to the object structure without forcing change in the object structure. So this follows the open close principle. Okay, vegetable abstraction that represent the element that will be visited by the visitor. So an abstraction that declares accept operation. So vegetable has accept operation which receive a vegetable object, and inside the actual implementation of this vegetable, it will call the method of the visitor. Right? So this is the entry point of which enables an object to be visited by the visitor object, and each object from a collection implements its abstraction in order to be able to be visited. So this is the case of car, the car vegetable case. So here, this is the car is the group vegetable object, okay, which is still the type of car element vegetable, and internally for each of those elements in the collection, it calls the accept method of its own. Okay, so basically this visitor will perform operation on each of these elements in this collection. That's basically this group vegetable object. Okay. So concrete vegetable, this is the one that actually defines the actual operations to be performed on the vegetable objects. And concrete vegetable group, so this is like a car case. This is a class containing all the objects that could be visited. It offers a mechanism to iterate through all the elements. So if a car is made of 4 wheels, 1 engine, and 1 body, each of those 6 the vegetable object will be visited by a visitor. So if the visitor is in fact assembled, each of those vegetable object, in this case 4 wheels and 1 engine and 1 body, will be visited by assemble operation visitor. So this structure is not necessarily a collection. It can be complex structure such as a composite object. So in our case, if you take a look at the car example, we have car vegetable. So we actually collect it. We actually have it as an array, but this one doesn't have to be an array. It could be a lot more complex object structure internally. Okay, and it's a matter of how you can actually go each of those structure and actually call accept. Okay, so because it's an array, we just use a for loop. But if it is actually more complex, the structure, then you basically use access that complex structure and call accept method on each of those elements, passing visitor object. Okay, so that is pretty much what the visitor pattern is. Again, this is one of the complex patterns in in design patterns. So let's take a look at the homework. So here, visitor. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to build a house. Okay, and the house will have the kitchen. We want the house to have a kitchen, and we want to have a bedroom, and we have a bathroom. We want, in fact, to have one kitchen, two bedrooms, and two bathrooms. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to build each of these house components, so to speak. We want to build kitchen, we want to build two bedrooms, we want to build two bathrooms. So build is basically a visitor. And then we want to paint each of these the elements, kitchen, two bedrooms, and two bathrooms. We want to paint it. Okay, so the thing you have to do is basically you have to create so you have to actually create the abstraction of vegetable, and then you have to create an abstraction of visitor. So here we are going to create a vegetable, the abstraction first, right? And which basically has accept method, then which receive visitor interface type. Okay, and then you're going to actually provide the implementation of these vegetable classes. So we are going to have house element vegetable. So this is the group, the vegetable, and then we have the kitchen vegetable, bedroom vegetable, bathroom vegetable. Okay. By the way, house the vegetable is provided. Okay, so if you take a look at the house vegetable, it just contains the accept, and the house element visitor is receiving visitor. Okay. All right, now then we are going to now create an abstraction of visitor. So this visitor abstraction should provide bunch of visit method. Okay, so that is this guy, bunch of visit method, which receive each of this vegetable type. Okay, all right, so you can just uncomment this guy. All right, and then we have to provide concrete implementation of visitor. So basically we need to create house element build visitor. So this is build operation, and then house element paint visitor. This is for paint operations. Okay, so once this is done, you're gonna actually run this client code, and then I want you to create garage visitable class. Okay, and also house. Let's do this. So skip the 5. Just do this. House element decorate visitor class. So basically what we want to do is we want to perform new operations on each of these house elements, and this operation is basically decorate. I want to actually decorate each of these 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms and kitchen. Okay, all right, so this is the end of the garage not garage pattern the visitor pattern. Okay, so let's actually see a question here. Can you explain this by debugging? It might be the actual instance type. What problem is visitor design pattern is trying to solve? Yeah, so basically it's trying to solve the case where you have a bunch of the vegetable structure. So the key point is that you should be able to perform new operations on the elements without changing existing code. It's just a matter of actually creating new visitor class. So basically it allows you to to follow the open close principle. Okay, so that's the benefit of the visitor pattern. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna let you guys have okay, so this is 12. So I'm gonna give you about let's see, I'm gonna give you guys about 20-25 minutes, and then it's kind of close lunchtime, so let's see how it goes. Okay, let me just